And the question is, as you know, Sfiras Ha'ima is Sheva Shabbos is Tmimus Te'iyena, and there are many sevens in the Bria that we're familiar with. So, of course, the first 7 that we're familiar with, the first one that came about was the Sheva Sfiras Tachtonos. After that came Sheshis Yimei Bereshis, including Shabbos as Sheva, and then we have Sfiras Ha'ima, which is Sheva Shabbos is Tmimus, and of course you also have, I'm not sure if I'm saying it in the right order, you also have Shemitah, which is also Sheva. So we have many Shevas over here. Well, that's Shemitah. That's not in the Sheva, that's +1. That's the +1. But, so, the first thing that I wanted to say is, we know that there are 10 spheres. So why did Rebbeinu Shalom create the world with only 7? Why didn't he create it with all 10? And the second question is, Rebbeinu Shalom created the world with Shem Elokim. There's Lamed Beis Elokims, till he came to all the way at the end, Vayi b'yoyim asayis Hashem Elokim eretz v'shamayim. The Shem Havaya came much later, after Sheshis Yimei Bereshis. Why didn't he use Shem Havaya during the Sheshis Yimei Bereshis? So, just to touch on that part, there's a Leshem, and he says like this, this question of why Shlaniska Shem Havaya b'kol Ma'aseh Bereshis, he says, in other words, if he would have created it with Shem Havaya, we wouldn't have had B'chira, lo yischar, lo yi'aynish, l'chein hagam shebe'emes hu nivru, kol ma'aseh bereshis rak al yidei ha'moichen de gadlus kulam, ach hayu mechusim v'ner olamim. In other words, if there wouldn't have been, had he created the world with the Gimel Rishonim as well, so there would have been no Gilui in those Gimel Rishonim, and those Gimel Rishonim is b'tchila alu b'machshava, so the only way that a person could have, a person would not have any b'chira if the world was created with the first 3 spheres. So the question is, why? So he says, because we wouldn't have had b'chira. Why would we not have had b'chira if we would have created it with the first 3 spheres? And why wouldn't we have had b'chira if we would have created it with Shem Havaya as opposed to Shem Elokim? So, to say the pshat in its simplest eifin is when there's a ribui of iris on such a high madrega, so we feel so close to Kudsha Brichu that there would be no hava mina whatsoever to be nifkam in any avera. Therefore, we'll be so close, we'll be mamish at the madrega of malach. If we'll be at the madrega of malach, and malach has no b'chira. Why doesn't he have b'chira? Because he's mamish in atzilus, like Eitzel Kudsha Brichu. I'm not saying he's in Olam HaAtzilus, I'm just saying that he's so close that the iris is so stark that there's any option of doing an avera he wouldn't have. Therefore, Rebbeinu Shalom, in order for him to give us that opportunity for b'chira, had to be only with the Shevat Hachtonim, could not be with the Gimel Rishonim, and in the same vein, it couldn't be either with Shem Havaya. So it's based on this Leshem, and as you know, the Gimel Rishonim, we talk about it all the time, it's strictly in Tares. It's there. I mean, just to take it on a simpler level, is also, you could say, that that in the Gimel Rishonim, the Gimel Rishonim are Sfiras al Yainos, and just like if a person's building a house, I gave this motion before, someone's building a house, so he's going through the planning stage, and you go look at the house while he's making his plans and he's getting his permits and everything else that goes along with it, you don't see anything happening in the house. And so too, as a mashal, Rebbeinu Shalom is creating a world, right? So he's in the planning stage, so to speak. In the planning stage is Gimel Rishonim, so he has B'tchila Olav Machshava. This is a Machshava level, so therefore there's no Bria. After that time came to create the world, so then that's when Ma'aseh Bereshis started. Bereshis Bara Elokim was already after the Machshava stage. So that was, what does that have to do with Sfiras Ha'ima? I'll get to it in a minute. So you see in that, Now, why is it 7? So we know that the 7 is 3 plus 1, which is the Chagas, Nahi, and the Malchus, which it has to be that way. It has to be in Madregas. Why does it have to be in Madregas? So just as a mashal more so than anything else, that you see by Yaakov was Sula Mutzav Arza, Roshei Magea Shemayim. Everything in Hayalma, in Avodas Hashem, has to always go Madregas. And the Shtugal Raya L'Davar is that we have Kabbalah Satira. It's coming up very soon. Of course, we have it every day as well. But where will we Kabbalah the Torah from? Sinai. What's the gematria of Sinai? Is 1. What's the gematria of Sulam Chasavav? 130. So it's the same gematria of Sulam and Sinai. The reason why do Rabban Shalom have to give the Torah on top of a mountain? There's a similar davar that the only way that your person is able to be Mekayim, the Torah of the oifen that he's supposed to, it has to go on Madregas. It's like going up a ladder. That's why Sulam and Sinai is the same thing, to show you that everything has to go on Madregas. It doesn't come in one shot. And the same thing, Ma'aseh Bereishis also has to go on Madregas. Doesn't come in one shot. Now, to compare, and we mentioned in the beginning that there's different 7s. Obviously 7s is also as Madregas that we have to be Eila to go. So why does it have to go in Madregas in that level and so forth? So there's a thing we know, it's called Ratzei V'Shoiv. In the Bria and in Avodas Hashem, there's always Ratzei V'Shoiv. We run around a lot. A whole week, what are we doing? We're running to the babysitter, we're running to work, we're running here, we're running there, we're running and running and running. Well, Shabbos B'Menucha, then everything slows down. You shut the phones, you shut the radio, you shut everything that you're doing. You go to shul, you have your sudas and so forth. Shabbos B'Menucha, the Ratzei V'Shoiv stops. So you have the same thing on the Ratzei V'Shoiv. Also, you have it in Sheishis Yemei Bereishis, 6 days of the week, and then you had Shabbos B'Menucha. You have it in the spheres. Also, you have it the same way that as you go through every level. You go Chesed, Chesed Shebegvura, and then Gvura Shebechesed, and as you go through all the spheres, you go through each one. Is a Madrega. You have to get up all the Madregas till you reach the Malchus. Malchus is obviously 49. And the reason why the Torah gave us so many different parts of the different Madregas and the different 7s is that we know that there's a thing called Datzcham, which is Daimim Tzemeach Chai Medaber. And in the Daimim Tzemeach, you have 4 Madregas. And the way the Bria, Hashem created the world was also in 4 Madregas. So you see, if you, so to speak, break it apart, that in Shemitah, is the Shemitahs of the Karka, and there's the Shemitah of what grows from the Karka. So then you have a Shemitah of the 4 Madregas. There you have a Daimim and a Tzemeach. Or you could say also, I think that way is more simpler, that the Karka is simple, but also Shavuos, you bring Shtei Alechem. Shtei Alechem is coming also from a Tzemeach. And then to take it one Madrega further is when you go to a Nefesh Adam. In a Adam is also 2 Madregas, a Nefesh Bahamis, and then there's a Nefesh Elokis. So there's also 2 Madregas of the Daimim Tzemeach Chai Medaber, which is reaching through on all these levels. So therefore it's showing us why do we have so many different 7s. You have a 7 of Sheishis Yemei Bereishis, you have a 7 of Shemitah, you have a 7 of the Omer, you have a 7 leading up to Kabbalah Satira. All these things are leading up to, as on the 4 Madregas of Daimim Tzemeach Chai Medaber. So, as we said earlier, that this Madrega that we're going through now, which is the Sulam Mutavarza, we're going up Madregas, and Sinai is where Kabbalah Satira took place. So the Kabbalah Satira took place in such a oifen where it had to be through Madregas, as we said before, that is Sulam and Sinai is the same gematria. The only way to reach the Madrega is it doesn't come just like the Rebbeinu Shalom didn't create the world in one shot. But we would have had no schar, we would have had no bchira because everything would have been too high in Madrega. And the same thing now, so to speak, we're reenacting everything in order for us to have a Madrega of bchira, in order for us to have a schar v'aynish. If it comes to us in one shot, we'll be way too close to Rebbeinu Shalom to have any hava amina to do an avera. Therefore, Rebbeinu Shalom had to set it up for us that it should be in Madregas, and therefore we should all be zeicher to reach the Madrega of Kabbalah Satira on an everyday basis, but not just Shavuos, because this Madrega comes every second of every day. That's all.